All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Looking sexy as hell as usual. And let me double check this. Yeah, I made it public. All right, okay, should be good to go. These coffee chats yesterday was pretty lively. We had a really good turnout as opposed to Sunday, which wasn't so much. But let's see what we get. Good afternoon, Coach. Morning for me, Lars. How you doing, bro? Just waking up. My first cup of coffee. Gonna do a back and bicep day today. Volume will be a little more moderated. I'm probably realistically just going to do 9 sets for my lats, 3 sets of curls, and maybe a set of band curls to finish up. Again, going to have to watch some stuff with the carbs. So again, with my carbs being low, doing the conditioning work with GPP every day, I'm going to have to watch volume real close. Other than biceps, and well, delts too. I'm going to do at least 12 sets for delts every week, and biceps. Cool. Yeah, tomorrow's shoulder day for me. But in my case, lifts are doing really well. I'm really happy with my lifts coming up. Trim down, get leaner, get stronger, and gain some muscle in the right places. That's the thing. I think I've got everything dialed in enough that I can recomposition decently effectively and get that strength up. So I do want to continue to work on hitting those lifts. But again, I really find the lower carb approach helps pretty well with that for me when doing the conditioning. It lets me get a lot of calories and still feel like I'm recomping. So we'll talk about that a lot more. And no, it's not bro science, and it doesn't violate calories in, calories out. So people misunderstand calories in, calories out. Right? It's a more complicated topic than they make it to be. People get entirely hung up on the calories inside with no concern for calories out, and then mistake that for the model. Okay. And they forget we're dynamic organisms. We're gaining and losing fat and muscle every hour, every day, pretty much. And again, part of that model. Eventually, I'd love to get like Alex on for him to discuss the whole fasting and protein overfeeding, since he did graduate work in that. Thunder, no, not at all. And I don't know for a fact that I have the condition. 90% chance I do, but it doesn't cause problems with that. It's not something you get signs of, you just die. So, and that's the scary thing with it. That's what the doctors told my sister, who looked at all my mom's autopsy reports and then the genes involved and did a genetic test on my sister. Is there's actually no warnings. Like, you don't have poor heart health, you just die. Like, you get a few seconds warning. Like, apparently when my mom died from it, her face looked funny for about 3 seconds, and she said like half a line, and then she just kind of fell over while standing up. So you get a few seconds warning. That's about it. Well, what do you do? All right. I'm hoping the training and all the other stuff, though, will help build some of that area up, right? Some of the previous gear use may help too, because it may thicken that area, ironically. So, so what do you do? And people with different heart conditions still train. I've known people with pacemakers and things who are elite athletes. I think you're reading too much into it. All right, and that's enough of that. So again, I don't know what gene you think I have for heart condition, or you think it's an actual condition in that respect. No, it's not. So, all right. Good morning, IT. Doing pretty good, man. How are you doing this morning, bro? Getting all caffeinated. caffeinated getting my coffee in. Seems a strange question considering the amount of cardio I've done over the years. And, I lost weight originally as a runner, so it just seems like a weird question. Does it prevent you? No, obviously not. It's never prevented me from squatting 500 plus pounds. It's never prevented me from doing hours of cardio. All right. Lars says, back when I was in the military, a guy from my team died during a training run, discovered he had an undiscovered heart defect, 21 years old. Life is brutal. Yeah, dude. Things happen. Like, there was no warning with my mom. Apparently, the doctor who looked at that, even for my sister, apparently said it's a gene and you can detect it with a gene. But my mom had a full coronary workup 6 months before with no problems. Like, they found nothing wrong. And then her heart ruptured. So the aorta splits and it's instant. You're unconscious immediately. Does underdeveloped below average testes? Hey, Bale, I would assume maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't. No, it would be the opposite. I would think the lower testosterone contributed to that. Meaning low testosterone in utero. But that could be due to something that happened in utero. It could be to a gene. But if that happens too, you're going to see a lot of secondary characteristics gone. Like, a lot of those men might not have facial hair. They might not have deeper voices. Greg says, list cardio. Okay. I'm not sure if that's a question. Are you asking me what list cardio is? Jefferson says, Jimmy Kolb, who benched world record 1400 multi, claims full natty. Do fat powerlifters think it's more believable? Some people just think Maddox is natty just because he's fat. Well, if he claims natty, then he's natty. That's what natty means. Right? Isn't that the definition of natural? Someone who says they're natty. I mean, it has no real meaning. You can mean whatever you want it to mean. So it's anybody who claims natty is natty, like me, dude. Full natty bra. Especially if you throw a bra in there. That, like, there you go, dude. That's all it takes. Kind of the world we live in now. We live in such a delusional world with that stuff because of the fake nattyism anyways. People have no clue. They have no clue. I just, if you saw more people discuss stuff, it would probably help. Do you think PDs is more common now in the 90s or 2000s? It's more common now because more people work out. And there are people who use testosterone who don't even work out. I've met guys who don't even do TRT. Like, they straight up go by. I've known a guy who literally, I've met someone who doesn't work out, has had a couple of dumbbells at his house, and he was using Testa and Deca and stuff regularly and didn't even have a gym membership and just did some curls at home. That was his whole workout. He had a pair of 20-pound dumbbells he did curls with. But so there's lots of people who use gear who don't even lift. There's a whole cultural shift towards testosterone use by people who aren't even necessarily fitness oriented just because they want the benefits. But then you take the fact that 10 times as many people work out. So yeah, versus the 90s, there's more people who work out on gear than there were lifters at all. Right. I've heard of non-lifters, entrepreneurs, business using it for psychological effects like higher motivation and drive. Yep. It's extremely common. It's extremely common. is using a lot of stuff but claiming really low doses just as bad as full natty or fake natty. I don't know. Jefferson, I mean, are we trying to assign a flow chart of this? And we get to a point then to where if we're going to say it's bad, then the whole fitness community is bad, because almost every influencer you follow is probably on here. Just because I've said someone, you guys need to be clear on the natty or not. Just because I say someone could be natty, if there's a possibility, doesn't mean they are. I think people forget that too. Those few people that I say, hey, it's possible they're natural, it's because the others, there's no way. Like there's zero chance. Meaning the possibility doesn't mean that they're natural. So if you say you know someone's natural, you're an idiot. Like you're just a blithering idiot if you think that you know for a fact someone's natural. Because looking like you don't lift isn't proof of being natural. Plenty of guys don't look like they lift who use 500-600 milligrams a week. I've met plenty of them. All right. Yes, that is probably a bird, CC. Or a squirrel. I would have to listen again. It's either a bird or a squirrel. Do you agree that overdeveloped front delts is something that vascular lifters never have to worry about? It's something they never have to worry about. Yeah, very disappointed not the Destiny claiming he's natural. Well, why are you disappointed? Like, he's in the industry. What do you expect? And his followers are mostly incels, and they're going to buy into that. I mean, I'm more disappointed in his above-the-knee rack pulls and him faking a 225 strict press than I am the fake natty, to be perfectly honest. I'm more disappointed in the company he chooses to keep. Good Wednesday, Jason. Good Wednesday to you, Tony. I couldn't care less who's natty. I respect fake natties. I don't want them to get fired or have their insurance go up. Yeah, people forget about that too. People forget about that too. You could literally lose your job over it. Everyone expects everyone to be open about it, but until society is such a way that we are allowed to be open about it, everyone is. It's not realistic to expect it. And as long as the fake natty community, the influencers keep claiming it, it's not going to help. Will doctors prescribe tests in the coronate for no one? My father is scared of needles. Only want 4. What? Sometimes through the Nibido. Yeah, it's usually done 4 shots a year on average, 4 or 5. Way better than the cream is terrible. Cream is terrible. And they can get over their fear of needles real fast, guys. I've never in my life let anyone else pen testosterone at me. Jesus Christ. Dude, I went to get a shot one day and I took this for like an antibiotic and I took it away from the nurse and did it myself. I'm like, because people hurt me when you give me injections for some reason. You don't know how to do it right. Give me the needle. I pinned myself in my glute. In the doctor's office. Because they do. For some reason they hurt you. Like they're spurred. I'm like, why don't you, do it correctly. You're professional. They don't, Jefferson. You just take it from them and do it. All right. What's a good squat stance width for someone with long legs but narrow hips? The one that's perfect for you. Hey, Marco, you have to find your perfect stance, because you have to think about hip structure too. Your pelvis width isn't what determines your hip angles. Not sure you can discuss but opinions on healing peptides. I think growth hormones probably better. Yeah, they stick the needle in way too fast. They just I'm like, whoa, let me just slide it in, ease it in a little bit, Start with just the tip. Give me a little foreplay here. I think when it's a female nurse, they would know that. I don't know. All right. I mean, get it if it's a dude. They might not know any better. So, that was supposed to get some laughs. All right. Why can't powerlifting feds agree on something as simple as weight classes? Good question, Jefferson. Do you want to know why? Because the IPF has this delusional idea that they're going to be in the Olympics. And so they changed the weight classes to the Olympic weight classes, and the other feds know powerlifting probably shouldn't be in the Olympics. Most don't want it in the Olympics, and so they stick with the traditional weight classes. Does that make sense? So the IPF switched over, and all their affiliates switched over to the Olympics weight classes. Novocaine shots hurt the most. I don't think I've had Novocaine. I'm trying to think. Maybe at the dentist. IPF meets are boring as hell. It's an untested meat, even on daddy. It's a lot more fun. Yep. They got music playing, cheering, screaming. You go to the IPF and it's like, can we give him a round of applause? He's going for 237.5 kilograms. Give him a little round of applause. It's a good lift. State record. All right, up next we have, dude, like I've been to an IPF meet in person. It's like, Jesus. Because I was friends with the officials. IPF is dead silent too, right? They have no music playing. Yeah. Yeah. So USPA just has standard DJ. WPC lets you pick your lifting music. That's why that meet I did, I had Slayer player in when I did that one meet. You guys saw that footage of from nationals in the UK. So I had Slayer, Angel of Death as my music during my lifts. I'm on Nibido, right? No, I had Angel of Death. Other meets have rock metal music while people cheering for IPF can't even compare it. No, they can't do. They're boring as hell. But they're pure. IPF are the pure bloods. And the international level IPF doesn't allow you to associate with enhanced lifters. I brought that up. I tried to point that out to Lane's lawyers. And I'm like, really, in the UK, he would be banned from competing in the drug-tested powerlifting. He wouldn't have been able to. And they got pissed at me. So what we're talking about, you're going to sue me in the UK courts. Then the UK rules, the federation say that he's not allowed to compete. He would be banned. So they didn't like that. It's called, so under those rules, it's guilt by association. So if you do an untested meet, like in a lot of countries, the IPF will ban you from competing in IPF events for X number of years if you did an untested meet, because it's guilt by association. If you could ban deadlift bars in powerlifting, would you? Probably not. I mean, we could make a case for it, maybe. Deadlift bars plus sumo is really a problem, though. Right? Because I think that's where we see the biggest disparity is get rid of sumo and the problem goes away. Because conventional, most of us get very, very little out of the deadlift bar. But sumo, totally different beast. You think change are the best way for raw benchers to overload triceps without affecting the groove? Maybe. But why are you trying to overload? Are you really overloading the triceps, though? I think it's a way to change your strength curve. I think it's a way to change your rate of acceleration. I don't think that it necessarily overloads the triceps. I've seen Duffin give a detailed discussion of that. When we get to a max bench, you do realize how much your triceps are involved at the bottom, right? Look at the EMG stuff. The long head, when you bench really heavy, the long head fires out of the bottom, actually. Even though you can't do it with rep work, it won't really fire effectively on rep work. It will when you get really, really, really heavy. So that's why the bench won't build the long head, but you need the long head. Deadlift bars are great for rowing, aggressive knurling for grip, smaller diameter makes it easier. Yeah. Not enough weight to make it rip. Yeah. I've done that before, Jefferson. I'm thinking of doing that again today. I was actually, it's funny you said that. I'm laughing that you just wrote that because I've done that in the past. And I was actually thinking yesterday, I'm like, I wonder if I should just do my rows with my deadlift bars. But if I start doing that, because I want to go back to doing the underhand grip, and that's a little tougher. It's harder to grip. And I don't think I've tried the supine grip with the deadlift bar. I can barely overhead press 135 3 times on the sole as a beginner weight. How do you? That's not beginner weight. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, it's reasonable. Some guys are just not good at overhead press. With my range of motion, I can't really overhead press anymore. I can't move any respectable weight, but I can rep out 315 on a flat bench. You think rows from the floor should always be with bumpers only, or are they fine? I would recommend bumpers if you're going to do a pin leg row, honestly. Unless you can set them down under control. Otherwise, you're just kind of banging stuff up. I mean, use the bumpers. That's what they're there for. Bumpers are training plates. All right. If you want my opinion, and since you asked, clearly you do, I'd recommend using the bumpers. Like, why not? Why bang all the stuff up unnecessarily? But I mean, if you're lowering it under control, it's probably fine. But if you're dropping, it's like with deadlifts. I mean, I think all steel is fine if we're not just dropping the hell out of it. If there's some control, you got a good deadlift platform. So I mean, that would be the point. I think on a deadlift platform, it's fine. On normal flooring, I'd use bumpers. Again, unless you have really good control. Let's just think about it pragmatically. What's practical? What's good for the equipment? What's good for the floor? Can you dig it? All right. You think Titan bumpers will be garbage? They're only ones I see that sell 100 pound. I have no idea. I've never messed with Titan plates like that. 100-pound bumpers, man. I'm trying to get my head around all that. If there's any form critiques that you have of yourself, any stuff that you do that we shouldn't, well, some stuff is individual. So there's things that I do that people don't get that is due to my personal biomechanics and shoulder mobility and stuff. So yeah, obviously you should lock out an overhead press. I physically can't. I am not capable of doing it. If you can touch your chest to the bar on a pull-up, do so. I can't. I can't do it with a lat pull down. So so on an overhand grip pull-up, I cannot, or a lat pull down, I physically cannot touch my chest. I have no ability to do it, no matter how hard I pull. But you should probably do so if you can. Like even on an incline bench, I have to have a full plate on there to touch my chest. I can't touch my chest with the empty bar. I could sit there for 3 minutes straight, just holding it 3 inches off my chest and just chill and try to pull it down and it won't touch. I've tried actually. I'm going to do it on camera one day for the people who, but Jefferson, I'll do that for you actually, because I think you'd mentioned that with some stuff. I literally can't touch the empty barbell to my chest on a 45-degree incline. I cannot do it. I have to have weight to compress it. Usually about 135, I can do it pretty easy, but anything less, I can't get it to touch. I could probably do it with 95 if I pull really hard. Is a 315 push press good? Sure. Rogue bumpers are great, but they're expensive. Dude, I have those red training plates. Those things were, if I recall, when I bought them, were like $155 each. I've got 8 of them. It's like $1,000, over $1,000 right there in red plates. Let's see. Larry says, hello, how's it going today? I'm doing all right. Jefferson Shrug, lucky for me, I'm not as strong as you. Yeah, rowing in the 400 just looked crazy. I mean, well, a flat bench, yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing when people are like, touch your chest to the bar on the pull up. I'm like, I can't do it on a lat pull down. How am I going to do it on a pull up? And the same thing, I need weight on the bar to touch my chest on it. It's the same angle. So, right, if you look at the angle, I can't do it. But that's one reason I really like incline bench, the stretch. Like the stretch that I get in my upper chest is so ridiculous. I have no idea. It's just my chest is that tight, I guess. But, and people would say, well, I stretch it all the time with 225. I do it every week. It's called lifting weights. It's possibly due to my arm length relative to stuff with my back and scapula. But yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, if I had a normal 0 ape index, my arms would actually be short enough that 3-inch gap would be removed. Does that make sense? So if my arms, I guess, were perfectly proportioned to my height, maybe it would touch still, because it would be the same joint angle at the shoulder. But flat bench, it's not a problem, like nothing at all. It's no big deal, right? But it's incline angles. But again, another reason I love the incline bench, because the stretch I get in my chest is ridiculous. Like it's literally painful on every rep. And that's why I like it, because it stretches my chest so hard. Kind of like how a very muscular person won't be able to get into a rack position with an empty bar. They need real weight. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Any idea what degree of incline your bench is? I do 45. I always set it to 45 because that's where I get that stretch. Again, the stretch and pump I get in my upper chest on that angle is amazing. Although my first rep, so one of the reasons I do have to warm up a little more incline, I usually do a rep with 135. Because if I don't and I try to go straight to 225, it sounds like Rice Krispies on the first rep. Like a bunch of your stuff just goes, it makes like a loud pop that I can hear. Everything pops into place. All right. Is touch and go better than pause work? Do you see me do touch and go work? All right. I think that sums that up. 99% of my chest pressing is pause, flat or incline. Do you see? Occasionally I'll do some incline work with a touch and go here and there, but it's still mostly pause. But usually what I hear, it's not so much shoulder, it's my upper back. Like when I do incline, the first set, I hear a bunch of popping all around my scapula and rhomboids, and they all just, You can hear it. I can hear it almost over the headphones. So equip lifting isn't something a lifter who trains alone can really get into, right? Yeah, they need teams. Jefferson, you ever put on a bench shirt? I have. And the same problem. Do you really want to get stapled even with safeties in place and a bench shirt? Stop and think about the unracking, the lift off. Then what happens if you miss the lift? So let's say that your max bench is 350 raw and you're doing rep work with 500 with the shirt on and you get stapled. You need a team. You don't do this alone. Because now you're down there with that shirt fully compressed and 500 pounds hitting the pins. That's not a good situation to be in. So when I tried the shirt on, a lot of what we were messing with the few weeks I messed with my probes is trying to learn to touch your chest. That's the hardest part. So I had to get up to 160 kg before I could get the bar to touch my chest. At 140, I could touch a one board, but I couldn't get the bar to touch my chest. And then at 160 kilos, I actually got the bar to physically reach my chest. But 3 plates, I couldn't touch my chest with the shirt. I didn't have strong enough lats, I guess, to row it. I mean, I tried, but I just couldn't get it to pull in. I could get it to one board though. But so it would stop about this far off my chest in the shirt. Just hang there. I couldn't pull it. Like trying to row it into your chest, it couldn't touch. So again, I think equipped powerlifting is kind of dumb personally. I just don't care for it. I think it's silly. I mean, we're just wearing an exoskeleton. I mean, I get it if you really like 40K, Warhammer 40K, and you want to wear an exoskeleton and be a space marine. I mean, that's cool and all, but I think it's better just to lift raw. And I like training generally as raw as possible for the most part. It's like right now I'm benching without wrist straps. Just get in and bench, dude. Get in and bench. I am wearing a belt for the squats and deadlifts because I do get some carryover. I figure at this point, because I have so many people hating on me for whatever strength levels, or you aren't squatting 500 plus again. I'm like, let me just put a belt on and just leave it. Because I don't know. I think 500 without a belt would be a little hard for me right now. Probably doable, but so I just do the belt on just so people will shut up. I'm like, okay, let me just lift some big weights. Do you think about guys who can be both raw and equipped who say the body should be used to build like a bench shirt? What? The lats definitely help. The lats help you with touch point. I mean, Jefferson, you powerlift, right? You move some big weights. Big lats give you eccentric control. So that's what I think the benefit to lats are on a bench press. It gives you better control of your touch point consistently because you're stronger on the eccentric rep, right? So when you go to hit a big weight, it lets you control where you touch it to your optimal point easier. You're able to lock in tighter. So if you can get that same consistent touch point to where you're strongest, that's worth something. Now, for certain grip lifts, yes, your lats can be like a slingshot too, if they get really big. For me, it definitely on close grip. I can use my lats to pop it out of the bottom. This guy in my gym said touch and go got him a 315 bench, and I'm the dumbass for pausing. Hey, Clarion. Really? Because I know guys who bench 500 plus who swear raw. Okay, like Jared Burton, he posts some of my stuff sometimes. I chat with him. Like Jared Burton's like 50 years old and he benches 550 raw. Okay. And he's like, touch and go is not the way to go. He's like, do as much pause work as possible. He does pause, pause, pause. I'm just saying, for an old guy, a 550 raw bench, I think is pretty good. So you're going to listen to Jared, or you're going to listen to your friend with the 315? But if I were ever invited to Westside to train and they wanted to put me in the shirt, I'd say yes, sir, without it. Oh, yeah, because you're at Westside. Pause feels better to the joints. Yeah, pause is safer on your joints. I find lifting the head and eyeing the touch point intentionally helps a lot, kind of like how tennis. Yeah, can be some truth to that. And also, if you're trying to sink, that head lift can help. I personally, these days, I like to keep the head down. But if you need that to see where it's going due to body awareness, I agree with you. But again, stronger lats is worth a lot for that in general. Is just control your touch point. It locks you in tighter. So we come over to a point I always say, getting bigger will never hurt your strength. Right? I can even make a case for biceps improving the bench a tiny amount. Even though they're not a primary mover, there's at least some physiology to support why they could help you a small amount. So, especially with bench press, I always tell guys, you want a big bench, just get jacked. Sinking is a hit or miss. I prefer not to, personally. I have better control if I don't sink. No, I mean, some comps allow it. It depends on what you do with the sink, though. Like, they're going to be real tricky. Problem with the sink, though, if you're getting a slow command, you see the problem? You got to learn how to time that sink with that press command, though, in competition. So that's where it can get a little tricky there. So there's definitely a skill to doing that if you're going to sink. But I mean, you also have to question, how much are you really getting out of it? Is it even worth it for all that and risking missing a lift because you misgrooved with the press command? I'm not saying, guys, Dan Green was great at it. Use tack spray on the feet and comp. No. I mean, I just pull raw. I've pulled without a belt in meet before. All right. And I think I need to go check. I think that British nationals, I might have squatted without a belt. I need to go back and check. But no, even that last meet I did with that state record, I didn't use knee sleeves for that either. I didn't use the intact spray knee sleeves. I used a belt, and that was it. I mean, I have SPD sleeves. I just didn't want to mess with them. I didn't need them to grab the state record, so I'm like, why bother putting them on and off and all that nonsense? I just hate pulling them on and off and risking a cramp. Putting those extra tight knee sleeves on. How does WPC? I like WPC. They don't do that many meets here, though. They're massive in Europe. I've never done any of their meets here, but I do have someone at World Headquarters who I'm personal friends with who said, yeah, if you have any other problems and you need a Fed, I'll put you on an international team just to make sure you have a spot even locally. So again, if I need to for politics, I can always go do WPC. Because I was also certified for them to referee international meets. As a judge. So as an actual meet judge for setting world records. So yeah, I was certified with them to pass or fail world records. And I've judged some, so it's cool. That was when I was living over in the UK. All right, guys, we're about 39 minutes in. Time to go ahead, find this down. I'm going to go get some training done. I love all of you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.